Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Lana, and today's episode is all about how to stop living by other people's opinions of yourself and others. I know this is kind of like a spin-off of the people pleasing and how to stop people pleasing episode. My friend made a comment to me the other day, and it was a compliment for the record, but she made a comment to me the other day that she essentially said to me, I'm so bad at relaying stories, but she said to me, you are so good at not caring about what other people think, and you're so good with being ignorant, like the best way possible. And honestly, took me a second to that gave me a second to realize how far I've come, because probably a year ago, you could have not said that to me. I cared so deeply about what other people thought about me and how they perceived me, and if I should do XYZ to make them like me more, and if I would be praised by doing things, how I should dress a certain way, all these different things, whether it's what I wear or career decisions or the people I go out with or talk to or hook up with. I used to ignore my intuition and only value what I thought other people were going to like and choose things based off of their opinions and their preferences instead of my own. I just totally got rid of my gut instincts and judgments and own preconceived notions. I just constantly wanted to do things that I would feel validated by or I felt would be approved by other people instead of just finding that validation within myself. So this episode is all about why do we do that, where does it stem from, and how to literally just start living your truth, just owning your truth and just being authentically yourself and not give a fuck about what other people are saying, how people are going to react, etc. So get ready for a little whirlwind of an episode. I think it's going to be a good one. I feel like it's something I shall talk about since I feel like I've gotten pretty good at mastering the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Until then, let's get into our current faves. I'm on a bagel kick. I'm obsessed with Primrose bagels here in Toronto. It's probably the closest thing you can get to a proper bagel from New York. I would say Toronto has pretty good bagels, but obviously New York is the king of it all. They do it way better in my personal opinion. I love Leon's in New York. That's my bagel fix there. And Primrose, I would say even the branding is kind of similar to Leon's, but nonetheless, I am obsessed with bagels. I love a breakfast bagel. Leon's, I do get an egg and cheese bagel, but here, and I get it on an egg bagel because they have egg bagels. They're like a challah bagel essentially. But from Primrose, I get the bodega bagel, which is egg, an aioli situation, pickles, lettuce, cheese, butter probably, some sort of hot sauce. I don't know. It's really good. I highly recommend, and I get it double toasted on a sesame bagel. I'm really obsessed with bagels. Also really obsessed with tuna salad. I don't know, I was having so many cravings for it. I think I'm on the tail end out, but I do get my tuna salad from either What a Bagel or Primrose here in Toronto. And I'm also on the other complete opposite end of the spectrum, and my other current fave is my Fenty Gloss Bomb in Sweet Mouth. I believe I've spoken about it on the podcast before, but I rediscovered her in my makeup drawer and we love her. I pair it with the MAC lip liner in Whirl. You guys know that's my go-to. I know you guys always want to know lip combinations. Everyone's obsessed with different lip combos, and that's my current obsession, and I think it's perfect. It's really glossy and cute, and I feel like it makes my lips look super plump and kissable, which is always the goal, and I just love it, and it feels good, and it's not too sticky. I love the Fenty gloss bombs. I have vivid memories from university, specifically in first and second year when the Fenty gloss bomb first came out. I think it's whatever the initial shade was that it came out in. I think it was called Fussy or something, and I just have vivid memories of me and my girlfriends. We would be drunk and going to the bar, and we literally just one person would take the Fenty Gloss Bomb out, and I had never owned it up until probably this year. I would just use my friends and we would apply it on each other, and I just have this vivid memory. I think that if that isn't girlhood, I don't know what is, but nonetheless, let's get into the bulk of the episode. Also, I want to just thank you guys for being so patient with me for having this episode go up late. I had a really crazy last week. Honestly, this week is really crazy, and I've had a lot of events and social plans, and I'm just very socially burnt out right now. So podcasting is definitely a social activity with myself, and I guess you guys, because I know you're going to be listening to this on the other end, and I rather be able to put put out content that better quality and I'm proud of than just like rush and throw something together. So thank you for being patient with me, and I hope that you can enjoy this episode going into your weekend or your long weekend if you're in Canada. Happy Canada Day, I guess. But yeah, so we'll have this episode. This episode's going live on Friday when you're listening to this, and then we'll be back to regular programming on Monday. So don't you fret. You'll have another episode on Monday, which I'm going to record after this. So there might not be any current faves in there because my faves are in this episode. Anyways, I will stop rambling on about nonsense and get into the episode and the reason why you clicked on it. But we're human. We seek validation or approval from others. It makes us feel like we have a higher sense of self-esteem. It is attached to our self-worth. It can be attached to how deeply we value ourselves based on the validation and recognition and approval of what other people give us. And I think social media has just expedited the growth of this and just like taking it to a whole other level. Seeking approval from others is kind of just like, it's inevitable. Like, you will do it, but there is obviously, like I always say, everything in moderation. Too much of feeling this need of wanting to seek approval from others for our decisions and what we're doing, and seeking opinions of ourselves from others is a problem, and it becomes a problem based on how much you're seeking it. If you find you're continually thinking about how others might think, react, or judge based off of your choices, and it's interfering with your own intuition, so like your ability to make decisions and act on your own without the need to get help from others, I think you need to start encouraging yourself to really just follow your own heart and do what feels right to you without having to bounce the decision-making process off of someone else. It is helpful and sometimes necessary to have a third party involved in your decision-making process, especially when it comes to bigger things or life decisions that you need help with. But your day-to-day decisions, like choosing to go somewhere or choosing what career path to go down or deciding to do an activity, or even just like as simple as buying a new pair of jeans, or whether or not you think a person is hot, say you're on a dating app and you're unsure if the person you've accepted to go on a date with is hot or not, you shouldn't have to constantly seek validation or opinions from other people. You should be able to just make that decision on your own and feel confident enough in it. And I get it. I've been there. I catch myself continuously seeking validation from others. And I guess that also happens when you're chronically online like me. And my job is merely based off of how people think of me and view me and whether or not they like me and want to follow me. But I've had to really encourage myself to kind of counteract those thoughts and challenge myself to retrust my inner knowing and my intuition, and to just make decisions based off of what I believe is right for me, and be okay with the fact that maybe it may not end up being right. Maybe other people are going to disagree with it. Maybe they're going to dislike it. Maybe they're really not going to like it at all, and maybe I might be judged for my decision, no matter how small or big it is, but that I'm going to be okay with it. And it doesn't really matter whether they like it or not. And obviously it's easier said than done, but it is possible. It is possible to start living and owning your truth, to make decisions on your own, to be confidently ignorant to other people's opinions of you and the things that you are doing. The way in which you can start to do that is every single time you're making a decision and you feel a need to message a friend and be like, what do you think of this? Or message your parents or a colleague or whatever it is. I want you to think why. Why am I asking them for their help? Can I not make this decision by myself? Is my own validation, my own internal validation, not enough for me? And if the answer is no, I want you to kind of reflect why. Like, why are you caring so much about other people's opinions in this process? Think about it for a moment. When making decisions, really encourage yourself to not seek external assistance until or only if it is necessary that it will help you. This will help you relearn how to trust your gut instinct and start to live more authentically to yourself. You'll start to learn what you actually do and don't like, as opposed to what your friends have convinced you like and don't like. When encountering new experiences, people, things, stop seeking so much input from other people. Allow yourself to go experience and figure it out, create an opinion and judgment of your own. It is so easy to be influenced by other people's biases, their own experiences with those things, their own opinions, and to take them as your own. And they're not your own. You can agree with other people, but I think you should really allow yourself to go and experience something, to meet people, to get to know someone without other people's opinions infiltrating your own. I feel like I always used to, and like I do sometimes. Obviously, I'm a bit anxious in nature, so I like to try gather as much information as possible. But I have learned, especially when it comes to meeting people, is to allow myself to base judgment off of my own personal interactions with them and my own relationship with them, as opposed to judging that person based on their interactions in the past with others. I like to start off on a clean slate, build judgment based off of my interactions with them, my experiences with them, the relationship we build. And if that bites me in the ass, so what? So what? I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just telling you this to protect you, or I want the best for you. What happens if you get hurt? Really, what happens if you get hurt or you're disappointed or let down by this person? You move on, you pick up the pieces, and everything will be okay. I think it's really important for us to go into things with an open mind and to build our own opinions and judgments and perceptions of things, as opposed to just relying solely on that of others. I think this also comes down to if you have friends that are continually sharing judgments of you that other people have gossiped with them about, or that they've heard people saying about you to them. Like if they are sharing what other people are saying about you behind your back, those opinions are not your responsibility. They're not. I feel like my list of things to buy, to do, activities that involve spending money is never ending around the holidays, making the idea of investing and saving and thinking about your future to be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more overwhelming. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing for you, your kids, and your retirement, even during the holidays. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you. You don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start automatically investing your money in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. That could be $5 a day or even just your spare change. That's right, Acorns can round every purchase you make up to the dollar and automatically invest your spare change for you. And you can get bonus investments just for buying the stuff you need from the brands you love. I personally love Acorns. It's simplified the investment process, which can be overwhelming and intimidating, but it just makes it so simple, so easy, and something more accessible no matter how much money you have to invest. Head to acorns.com/Alana or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Alana. I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and Estro Control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today. People's opinions of you and what you're doing and how you're dressing and what you're doing in your job, in school, in life, who you're friends with. who you're romantically involved with, etc., is not your responsibility. And if you have friends who are constantly telling you what other people are saying about you behind your back, ask them to kindly not. I used to want to know everything that everyone was saying behind my back, and it's really exhausting. It's really, really exhausting. People will always have shit to say, especially if you're not going down the traditional path with anything in your life. If you're going against the current, if you're carving out your own path, if you're doing something that is a little bit different than what everyone else is doing, people are going to have shit to say. I personally have decided that other people's opinions of me are not my responsibility, and I truthfully would rather live in ignorance because I'm confident enough in who I am as a person, and that is all that matters to me now. In the past, 100% not. I cared so much about what other people thought about me that it consumed every single thought, decision, action I took. And in letting that go, I have gained so much mental space, so much more energy, and I just feel so much more free because I'm no longer living for them. I'm living for me. And I know that if I'm content with who I am, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, you are with you throughout all of life. People can come and go. People are going to say shit. A lot of the times when people are talking negatively, it's a reflection of their insecurities or their jealousy. There could be some truth or warrant to what they're saying, but it is not your responsibility. It is not for you to live off of. People are always going to say whatever they want to say. When it comes to social media and seeking validation from it, be aware of why and what you're posting. What are you seeking when you are posting certain things? It is so easy to become blinded to the validation or attention that you're seeking by posting online. And it truly has become normalized by society. I'm not saying I'm 100% innocent to this. I'm a 24-year-old female who posts online and I'm single. Like, obviously I'm seeking some sort of validation there, but I want you to think about when you are going out or if you're doing things in your life, like, why are you posting them? Some things are just better kept for you and your memories to look back on. Not everything needs to be documented. Not everyone needs to know where you're at, where you're going, what you're up to, what you're wearing, who you're with, what new car you bought. I think silence speaks more. You don't need to publish everything on the internet. It's not going to give you that validation that you're actually seeking. It's not going to fulfill you in the way that you think it is. So maybe the next time you post yourself buying something fancy or being with a certain person, or maybe it's a bit more of a scandalous picture online, or I know I used to post a lot when I was out partying, if I was like in the DJ booth or something like that. Why are you posting it? Like, what are you seeking? Whose attention are you trying to get? And maybe look internally and see if you can give that validation to yourself. I think the first time I really stopped living by other people's opinions and things was when it came to developing like my own personal style. I feel like we all get super in our head about what we're wearing and dress like those around us, and we feel like we can't wear certain things because, oh, that's too out there or anything. You are allowed to express yourself through your clothes. All that matters is that you feel comfortable and confident in what you're wearing, not what other people think of you based off of what you wear. Like, don't just wear something because it's trendy. I mean, you can if you like it, but just own whatever you want to wear and don't think too deeply about it. The same thing with your career and school. It is obviously easier to take the traditional, mainstream, popular path when it comes to choosing your university, your college degree, the type of jobs you apply for, etc. I know from my high school, we all applied to the same 3 major schools. If you kind of applied to anything else, it was kind of weird. We all kind of applied to the same sort of programs and did the same thing. And that's totally normal. But if that doesn't speak to you, if there is something you are more interested in that is different to what your parents, your siblings, your friends, your peers are doing, and you're really serious about it, do it. Let go of what other people might think of you. Because if you don't and you just go down the path that you think people want you to go down, you're always going to wonder, what if? What if I had just taken the risk and done something different and done the thing that I was actually passionate about? I remember when I was thinking about transferring universities, I just kept thinking about what other people were going to think of me instead of thinking firsthand, how might this benefit me? Will this make me happier? Obviously, like, I did think about those things, I wouldn't have transferred otherwise. But the first thing that came to mind was people are going to think I'm a failure. People are going to think I'm dumb for switching to this school, because that was kind of the talk around the school that I transferred to, at least amongst my peers. It was like the backup school. I wasn't even thinking firsthand, like, do I like the program that they offer? Will I be happier going to this school? I was really just like focusing on the external perception of switching universities, because also that was like a thing that people didn't really do. And the same thing when I started posting my life online, the same thing when I started this podcast. It was really scary because I was scared of what other people were going to think of me and what they were going to say. And I'm sure people still talk shit, like, no doubt. But people talked a lot of shit at the start. But you just need to let go of what other people might think of you. Because if I held on so hard to that, I would not be working for myself right now. I would not be on the path and the trajectory that I'm on if I had just fallen victim to being fearful of what other people think of me. I decided that when I started posting, I had to really just let that go. And the same thing goes with starting a new business, or even if you want to post online and post like an influencer, do it. Who the fuck cares what other people think? Their opinions of you are not your responsibility. They really are not your responsibility. Again, I know it's easier said than done. I know it's really hard, and this need and want to fit in is something that everyone longs and desires. But if you have to change yourself in a way that's not authentic to you and act a certain way and do certain things in order to fit in with these people, then those are not your people. Because your people will accept you for who you are at your heart, at your core, your true authentic self. You shouldn't have to live by their opinions and their way of doing things in order to fit in order to feel accepted, in order to feel seen and heard and to be respected. You should be able to live your life the way you want to live it, and in alignment with your own truth, what you want, what you value, what your morals are, your interests, the things that you like doing. You should be able to do that without thinking, what is so-and-so going to think of me? Oh, they won't want to be friends with me because I'm into this. Your friends and family and colleagues and whatever should support you. Your inner circle should support you and be your biggest fan when it comes to all these things. It shouldn't have a negative connotation to it. Seek the validation you are seeking from others within yourself. Every single time you feel the desire to seek validation from someone else, whether it be messaging them, asking for help with making a decision, asking their thoughts on something, posting online, I want you to stop yourself before you do so. See if you can validate your own opinion, decision, whatever it is, whatever you're deciding on, whatever you're debating, whatever's in your head, by yourself. Ask yourself, can I, insert name, validate this? Can I confidently just make a decision by myself? What do I actually like? Do I like this? Do I not? And it's going to be harder at first, especially if you're always asking your friends and your family and whoever else for help with everything. And I'm not saying it's bad to ask for help. You can ask for help, but I think if it's for every single thing, then it's an issue. Because then you're living by their rules, not yours. And then it's their life, not yours. So if you take anything from this episode, I know it's short and sweet over here, I want you to take these few things. Other people's opinions of you are not your responsibility. The only opinion that matters is the one you have of yourself. If you are confident and comfortable in who you are as a person and the identity that you have of yourself and the perception you have of yourself, that is all that matters. That should be enough. So every single time you feel the need to seek validation, ask yourself why. And if you feel like you are not happy with who you are, or you don't know who you are as a person because you're always leaning on other people's opinions of what to do and what you should like and what you shouldn't like, I'm giving you some homework. And I want you to try to discover who you are, what you like, what you don't like. And the only way to do that is to go through life with an open mind, to experience new things with zero preconceived judgments, or as little as you can get. Just go into things with an open mind and let yourself experience life firsthand, make your own judgments based off your own experiences, and go from there. The more you do it, the more you encourage yourself to go out and to experience life with an open mind, and allow yourself to make judgments and be confident in your own opinions and judgments of others and yourself and things, whatever it may be, the more confident and more sure of yourself you will be. I feel like I'm starting to talk in circles on this topic, so I'm going to end this episode here, but I would love to continue the conversation in the DMs on the Morning Ray podcast Instagram or my personal Instagram at Alana Bloomberg, or even on Spotify. You can respond. There's normally like a question like, how did you find this episode, blah, blah. You can just write your response there and I can see your answer. I can share it on the little page. But I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you again for being patient with me. If you liked this episode, I would really love if you could leave a rating or review, as that is how you can help support the podcast. I love also seeing when you guys are listening to the podcast, sharing it on socials, on your stories, on reels, on TikToks, whatever it may be. I love it so much, and I love you guys so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.